Hello everyone, this is Brooke, Deep Analyst from TID Research, and in today's video we would like to review the performance of the major protocols and also identify the winner throughout 2025 from sectors such as Perp DEX, Spot DEX, lending, stablecoins, and also the chains. So probably can start with the Perps protocol. So for Perps protocol, one of the most important metrics we often look at is the Perps volume, and this is a market share chart for Perps volume. So in early 2025, we can see that Hyperliquid was undoubtedly the clear winner here. However, starting from Q2, players such as Aster, EdgeX, and Lighter began with the first strong institutional backing and also the connection with the ecosystem partners, and therefore the elevated airdrop affiliation. And to farm the airdrop, you can see that users start to contribute a lot of trading volume here. So for Lighter, throughout 2025, it had been one of the most hype protocol in terms of the airdrop. Users can either trade to contribute the trading volume or deposit into the market making floats. So the trading volume can be explained by activity that's from user trying to farm the airdrop. On the other hand, the float design is also why the Lighter Perps volume can be so robust and so sustainable throughout this long period of time. So in order to deposit into the Lighter market making floats, you usually have to earn the points. However, the only way for you to earn the points first is to generate the trading volume. So user generate the trading volume in order to get into the floats, and then floats farm the trading volume, the source of the APY. And with more trading volume, APY of the float is also getting higher and higher, and therefore attract more people to contribute to trading volume to only get into the floats. So this created a kind of flywheel effect, attract a lot of traders not only from the airdrop but also from the very high and attractive APY of the floats. So that's the reason why Lighter, in addition to the airdrop and the market consensus about the airdrop, in addition to these factors, the design of the floats and also the institutional backing also helped to explain why Lighter was so popular throughout most of 2025, and also why the market share has been so robust even there was some market volatility throughout 2025. However, the biggest question is that right now the TGE has been concluded. Whether it can sustain this kind of market share or not is highly uncertain. And as for Aster belongs to BSC ecosystem, and before the Q3 of 2025, it has actually been very silent. And even though it belongs to the BSC, it does not actually interact a lot with other ecosystem partners. It is also not mentioned a lot by the Binance team or the CZ himself. However, starting from Q3, Aster all of a sudden become very active, roll out a lot of partnership program within the big BSC ecosystem, and also mentioned a lot by CZ himself. And therefore, the airdrop affiliation for Aster started to pump in the middle of the Q3. That's the reason why you see the trading volume here. Another reason they can help to explain the trading volume of Aster is the synergy with Binance Alpha. Alpha is basically a listing channel to launch on Binance UI. Different from Binance Spot or Binance Perps, Binance Alpha is basically an aggregator, allow user to trade directly across different, not only on BSC but on Arbitron or so on. So Binance Alpha, for those protocols they would like to list on Binance, oftentimes list on Aster Perps to generate more volume and to provide their market makers another channel to make the market. So the market had been pretty hype about Binance Alpha throughout most of 2025, and that also helped partly explain the trading volume of Aster. And then different from Lighter, where you can see that a trading volume had been shrinking, even though not very significantly, only slightly. But you can see that closer to the TGE, Lighter has been, in the last few weeks at least, has been losing its market share in terms of the trading volume. And for Aster, even after the TGE, it has been managed to protect its own market share. The reason behind this is first synergy with the Binance, and the other reason is that Aster has been pretty generous about sharing the revenue back to its user. So after TGE, it's using its revenue to incentivize the trading volume, and also it's using its revenue to buy back the Aster. And that's the reason why even long after the airdrop, Aster is still able to protect its own trading volume market share. And lastly is for EdgeX. So EdgeX, even though not as popular as the Aster or Lighter, however, market oftentimes referred it to the next Lighter. So now that Aster has already concluded its own TGE, market expect a lot from Aster to take over the trading volume and also provide the next narrative for people to farm the Perp DEX airdrop. So far, a lot of people might say that the Lighter is the winner in 2025 in terms of from the Perp DEX sector. So if we look at the trading volume alone, that might be the case, given the strong growth, given the strong narrative. However, in 2026, that is highly uncertain. And another interesting thing we can look at for Perp DEX is the open interest. So you can see that very different from the Perps only, where Lighter, Aster, and EdgeX took away most of the market share from Hyperliquid. You can see that if you look at the open interest, even though Hyperliquid was also losing some market share to this protocol throughout 2025, but till the year end, Hyperliquid still has the most open interest across all these major protocols. So it also shows that even though it also kind of shows indirectly that the trading volume here were all driven somewhat by the airdrop or by the incentives or by the external factors. And then if you look at the open interest, Hyperliquid seems to remain the go-to choice for DeFi OGs who like to build positions and to trade on their market views. So you can see that even till the year end, Hyperliquid still have more than 60% of market share in terms of market interest. And that is due to its strong ecosystem connection. It's also due to its strong community and also the solid infrastructure, and then probably also this user experience. And lastly, we will also like to look at, in addition to the top 4 largest Perp DEX, how other Perp DEX are doing. So you can see that this is orange one is EdgeX, and lastly Hyperliquid. If you look at this protocol, you can see that their market share has been going down starting from December. So that goes back to the question that is, after both Lighter and Aster, 2 of the hype Perp DEX throughout 2025, after both of these Perp DEX have concluded their TGE, whether they can protect their market share from the smaller competitors, for example, like extended GRVD, variational Apex, Perp DEX, or like Ethereal and Hyena, that is highly uncertain. If you look at the market share alone, it looks like they started to lose their market share against smaller DEX already, because the market's already trying to look for the next Lighter or the next Aster to farm for the airdrop. And these smaller Perp DEX are often more generous in terms of revenue sharing, and they are also less crowded in terms of farming the airdrop, so more opportunity for the users. You can see that the Hyperliquid, the market share has been pretty robust, and however for Lighter and also for Aster, they've been losing the market share. And for EdgeX, even though market expect a lot from it, it's been kind of struggling to grow. And all of that market share goes to the smaller Perp DEX. Only have more airdrop opportunities than these protocols.